and get started now. I'm Caroline Wolf with E-Rate Central. Happy summer. Welcome, everyone. We are having a lot of interesting things going on right now with all of the COVID programs, and including ECF. So thank you so much for attending. I expect people will be joining us as they can. So welcome. We have Kyle Lewis, Jennifer Williams, Jenny Harwood, Brandy Krubaugh, and Patty Hollingsworth here. We're going to have a brief webinar today. We know that y'all are busy. Things are going probably with summer programs and things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat and also the raise hand feature. We're going to be answering questions as we go. So we're going to go over the summary of LCT funding and things like that, some stats about LCT. Kyle's going to be talking about changes to the BEAR form, which is the form that is submitted to USAC when schools and libraries pay their bill in full and then seek reimbursement from USAC on their own. There are some of you who are using the SPI method. That's the service provider invoice method. That's when you receive the discount applied to your bill and the service provider invoices USAC for the discount. So Kyle's going to be talking about the BEAR changes. Jennifer Williams is going to be talking about the E-rate timeline. Patty's going to talk about August action items, and Brandy's going to talk about the 2022 prep. And Jenny's going to give an update on the Emergency Connectivity Fund. Before we start, I just also want to let you know that it looks like we are going to be at least working with you for another year. It looks like that the state library has decided to extend our contract another year. So we look forward to working with you and probably some more libraries for the 2022 process. So 98% of the LCT Category 1 dollars have been funded for 2021 already. This is exciting in the first month of the funding year. That means that any of you who want to use the SPI process, as long as you filed your Form 486, can expect that your bills should show your discounts on them when you get your first July bill. So pay attention to your bills and make sure that you that you do get those discounts applied to your bill if that's what you wanted. So I also, the $4.8 million in pre-discount funding has been awarded to LCT libraries from 2018 to 2020, and $2.6 million in discounts has been dispersed to LCT libraries since 2018. That's not including the amount to that people have been invoicing for 2020. So right now, I also, we're monitoring the forms that some service providers have not submitted yet for 2021. There are 24 service providers who have not filed their annual certification yet. That means that if they invoice USAC for your discounts, they're not going to get paid until they submit that form. So I think we're going to start seeing that service providers are filing their annual certification form as things progress. But as if we start becoming concerned about it, we may reach out to you and let you know if your service provider is on that list. 38 LCT libraries have not yet invoiced USAC for your 2020 discounts yet. That means that you should all just double check and make sure, look at your bills from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, and make sure that if you were expecting them to be invoicing you, you're adding the discount to your bill, that they did actually do that. If they didn't, then you should expect to file a BEAR. There are some forms that need to be submitted if you haven't set up your Form 498 and your BEAR access. So do check that sooner than later so that we can make sure that you get your reimbursements, because it's really important to get your reimbursements if you're going through all of the work to apply for E-rate discounts.
Caroline, I'll add that recently I had a situation with a library who didn't realize they didn't have a 498, did not have a Bear pin, which was prior to July 1st, but waited too late. So yeah, that's definitely something you don't want to wait till the close to the deadline to do.
You don't want to work hard on getting your E-rate funding and then find out that you missed the boat. So definitely, if you don't know for sure that you've gotten your money back, definitely check your bills. It's always good to look at them. Even if you're not the person who actually receives that bill in the mail, you may have to reach out to your county clerk or whoever pays the bills, just to make sure that those discounts were applied. If you need help from us, please do reach out. So $227,975.63 has been dispersed to LCT libraries for 2020 funding. So again, we're going to continue to monitor that, make sure that you're looking at your bills, and we'll reach out to you if we see that you still haven't been getting your discounts yet, and see if you need help. All right, so speaking of invoicing, Kyle's going to talk to you about some changes that have been made to the Bear process.
Thank you, Caroline. So as of July 12th of 2021, just a couple weeks ago, there has been a change in how you access the Bear form. It is now something that you are going to access through the One portal, very similar to how you would access the Epic portal. It's now going to be on that initial splash page that you see when you first sign in to the portal.usac.org site. It is going to be one of the options there for the Bear form, which is the form 472. And by clicking on that, it will take you to the login for the Bear portal. On that site, it is going to automatically recognize if you already have a Bear pin associated with your account. And by entering your library's build entity number, the BEN, that will allow you to log in to a Bear form that recognizes your name and your account. So on that Bear form, your name should already be automatically filled in as the certifier, and won't be something that can be adjusted. Everything else in the Bear form is mostly the same. But if you run into any questions when certifying or when drafting a Bear, please let us know. And also please note that if you are using a library email address that has been passed down to you from a previous user and they had a Bear pin, just double check when you draft a Bear using that account that their name is not showing up there, and that you have that information updated to reflect that you are the certifier if you are the person certifying the Bear. And on to the next page, we'll take a look at changes to the process of requesting a new Bear pin. So similar to how it used to be, you are going to request a Bear pin by submitting a customer service case in the Epic portal. If you've not done this before, it's a matter of logging into Epic, going to your library splash page, and from related actions, there will be an option that says create customer service case. And from there, you can select the proper drop downs to find the Bear topic and submit a completed template that contains all the information that they will need to give you a Bear PIN. Something to note for the new Bear PIN process, because the Bear PIN is now automatically associated with that specific account, it's invisible, so you're not really getting a number that you'll have to enter. You're just getting a credential that will be associated with that account that you're requesting the Bear PIN for. So you won't have to keep track of another password for that, which is a good thing. I think we're all grateful to be past that stage of the Bear. In any case, I believe we're passing on to now to the E-rate timeline. And who's presenting that part?
That's me, Kyle. Thank you. So E-rate timeline. Generally speaking, you work in 3 years, past, present, and future. So for funding year 2020, you're going to be finishing up the invoicing process, whether that be the Bear reimbursement method or the SPI service provider invoicing method. So you, like Caroline said, you want to make sure that either your discounts have been applied for 2020 or that you are filing your reimbursement. And for funding year 2021, services started July 1. You want to confirm to USAC that the services have started and you're in SIPA compliance by submitting your Form 486. And that's after you've received your funding letter. And then, of course, we are gearing up to get ready to file for funding year 2022, which you file the Form 470, keep that open for 28 days at least, evaluate your bids, and then after that, we do the 471. So the E-rate timeline is always a moving target. We're constantly working in multiple years, but we are here to help you figure out what you should be working on. And I believe it is on to Patty.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. That flow chart that you went over, that's great. It's a great tool that I like to use as well. Now, here, just in summary, now is the time to file for your 2020 Bear reimbursement. And so, as you know, the Bears will be for services that you have paid for in full and you're requesting reimbursement from USAC. And so the deadline for recurring services on filing a Bear is October 28th of this year. So you have a few months to get those prepared and submitted before the deadline. Then also at this time, the funding year 2021 services started July 1st of 2021. So, make sure that you filed your 486. The deadline for filing that is the service start date or 120 days after your FCDL was issued. So, and on that 486, what you're certifying is that the date that the services will start and also that you're SIPA compliant. And then moving forward, for this fall, we're going to be planning for this upcoming year. And I think Brandy will be talking more in depth about the how to prepare for this upcoming year.
Thanks, Patty. So in the fall each year, we start working on requests for the upcoming funding year. And in this case, we're talking about funding year 2022. And that begins on July 1st of 2022. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that timeline looks like. The planning involved is reviewing your library's information in EPIC just to make sure that everything is accurate. If there are any changes that need to be made to add a new branch or change an address or modify the library square footage, that's something that you want to accomplish before starting on your Form 470. Another thing you want to think about is what needs do you have as a library? Do you need more bandwidth? What about internal connections to support the upgraded bandwidth? That's something that I talked to several libraries about this past funding year, and something you need to consider as well. Take a look at your contract for internet access and note, does it expire any time between July 1st of 2022 and June 30th of 2023? If it goes through June 30th of 2023, then you don't need to file a Form 470. If you have month-to-month services, you will need to post a new Form 470. In some cases, the contract does not begin until services are turned up, which puts your contract expiration date on a day other than June 30th. In the process, when you're in the 470 process negotiating contract terms, we recommend that you ask that they have it expire June 30th, just so it can be the same time as the funding year. If you have trouble determining when your contract terminates, of course, we're happy to look at that with you and help. And if your contract does, in fact, expire before the end of the 2022 funding year, you will want to prepare an RFP or request for proposal or our service specifications document. This includes where the service is being delivered, as well as what bandwidth you're wanting to request and the term that you want. This is the document that we upload with your Form 470 in Epic. You'll then wait the minimum of 28 days, which is more like 40 days if you include the Q&A period, which is, we advise that. You'll evaluate your bid, select your provider, and sign your contract, or in some cases, elect to go with a month-to-month option. Now, in preparation for the funding year, you will want to review the eligible services list. It is released each year, and the draft typically comes out during the summer. You will also likely see that referenced in our newsletter when it is released, and we typically highlight any big changes that are made. Most of our libraries only request internet access, but we do have a few that have utilized funding for Category 2 as well. If it's a simple C2 request, like a firewall or a few APs that we can assist you with, that's within the scope of our agreement with the state. But if it's a larger C2 project, we will have to contract with the library separately. C2 includes things like internal connections, managed internal broadband services, and basic maintenance of internal connections. We've also included the eligible services glossary of terms link, which provides further detail. Jenny is next going to talk to you a little bit about ECF.
Thanks, Brandy. Don't let what Brandy said just a few minutes ago worry you. We will go into depth on the preparation for funding year 2022 in August and September. So we'll go into kind of what, if you're thinking about Category 2, what that entails and what those services are and how to determine those needs. So she's just trying to get everybody ready to move forward. And speaking of moving forward, I'm going to speak about the Emergency Connectivity Fund, which is separate from E-rate. So the FCC, who governs E-rate, has also allocated a little over $7 billion under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. This program is to fund remote learning, so off-campus use. So if any of your patrons lack access to connected devices, such as laptops, Chromebooks, or tablet computers, Wi-Fi hotspots, or any kind of connectivity at their house or any off-campus use, then this funding can provide you with 100% of the cost of those devices for the unmet needs of your patrons. We've talked about this a little bit, but we are now in the thick of this filing window. They did roll out a filing window. It's a quick one. It's a 45-day window, and it will close August 13th. So we have 3 weeks left, and it's a great opportunity if you do have need in your communities for this type of funding. We can discuss it further with you on a one-to-one call, or we're also able to contract with you separately if you need support in filing for this funding. But during this 45-day window, you'll have the opportunity to submit funding requests, much like you do any rate, to purchase this eligible equipment and services. Now, the funding is for services and equipment delivered and received and delivered between July 1st and June 30th of 2022. So it coincides with this funding year that we're in. But again, it is separate from E-rate. So if you've not heard of it, or if this is piquing your interest whatsoever, and there is a need in your community, please let us know. We're happy to discuss in more detail. And now I'm going to hand it back to Caroline.
Thanks, Jenny. So as I said, it's a short and sweet webinar this month. We know you're very busy with your summer programs, and so we hope that you've enjoyed it and that this has been beneficial to your library's E-rate management. And we look forward to giving you some more in-depth information next month in the August webinar, when we're going to talk more, do a deeper dive into the eligible services and things that are eligible for E-rate discounts. As always, please reach out to us if you have any questions or need assistance with any of the E-rate forms. And we hope that you have a great rest of the month. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.